do this. Okay, sorry.
Welcome back to I Hate That Shit, a podcast about hating shit and loving life. Here we are with your host.
Hi guys, it's Bonnie. Hope this finds you well.
And I'm Liz.
Yep, she's Liz over there.
So what's on your mind today, Bonnie?
Well, I've been watching the news and reading some stuff, and the way that housing is out of control. Get this, the stat that I pulled up was housing costs for an average family is $1,784 a month or $21,409 a year. It's 33% of your budget. Housing. So I decided, why don't we talk about alternative livings, right? Like tiny homes. You know, it says alternative living it refers to unconventional lifestyles or housing arrangements that differ from the mainstream norms. It encompasses a wide range of choices, such as living off the grid, which I don't know if I could do that, tiny houses or communal spaces, and adopting sustainable practices. This alternative living options, they offer priority, minimalism, self-prioritization, right? Self-sufficiency, I should say, and environmental consciousness and community engagement. I mean, I think if you decide to do an alternative living, I mean, it's better for the environment, they say. It's a simpler lifestyle, and why not explore the different ways you can live outside the traditional norms, right?
I think as long as you're not materialistic.
That's what you can't be.
As long as you're not obscenely materialist. I mean, you can have a couple nice things here and there.
Right.
But there are a lot of people now, they're like getting vans and RVs and renovating them.
I think that's cool.
Into a house.
Yeah, or storage containers too now.
Yeah.
Those are becoming big too.
And they got the tiny houses, like the sheds.
Yeah. Stuff. I don't think I could do that.
I mean, but here's the thing. So. Here's one. Well, I think it's really cool. I think it's, you know, if you're capable of living
by yourself.
Not necessarily by yourself, but people don't always live by themselves.
That's
I mean,
true.
it's not for the family.
Right.
But if it's like just a couple.
Or that's
one thing.
Yeah.
That's like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's small for 2 people that are roommates,
well,
but if you're a couple, that's a different.
What about you? You live by yourself in a 1-bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have enough room for just the one of you? If you decided to have a partner and have a child, would you feel like that would be enough room?
I feel like it would be enough room for me.
For you?
I think you could. For a partner, yeah.
And what about a baby?
I just know me. I'm like, I'm difficult to live with people.
Well, yeah, she's. Listen to her.
But I think like if it was the right partner that I felt comfortable enough to live with, then yeah.
Right.
For a child, as like a family.
Yeah.
If it was like a baby.
There's enough room until they walk.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Until you gotta have a whole bunch of toys.
Yeah, and then they're all over the place.
When it gets to the point where you gotta have a whole bunch of toys, and like all that extra.
Oh, a lot
stuff,
of extra.
Plus, you just have them that are extra.
Yeah, they are extra too. Children are extra.
At that point, yeah. I'd need something a little bit bigger.
Well, you know, I think alternative living, I think it's a good thing. I mean, we see all these people building these tiny houses, and I remember the craze all started. But my biggest thing here in Arizona right now is the former governor, Doug Ducey, had all those shipping containers down to the border, trying to make sure people don't cross into Arizona. Whatever, it didn't work, and he was told to take them down. Now he's selling them for he's not, but the government is selling them for $500 a piece. A storage container. I want one. I would go and dig a big old hole down somewhere in the desert, and I would retrofit it have a bunker.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. That I could do that. That's a little bit bigger than
$500. You can make a lot of things with it.
Exactly.
I mean, you could just have a storage shed.
Exactly.
You could have
amazing
a guest house.
Oh yeah,
You can give Rocco a proper workshop.
You can have that. $500. That's a good deal.
That is a good deal.
And I think that
a lot of those little sheds are like $700 to $1,500.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
Those pre-made sheds.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
not one where you go buy the wood and do it yourself, but like the prefabricated ones.
I'm just shocked that they're that cheap. I would do that, but then you have to think about how you're going to transport it.
Transport it.
Yes.
Which I think would be easier than finding a place to put it.
I agree too. But the mayor in Phoenix is actually making sustainable housing out of them. They bought up a bunch of them, and they're going to make apartments for the people who have no homes, you know. And I think that's a good thing.
They're going to probably charge like $2,000 a month.
That would be too much
per container.
I mean, that's what average rent is, $2,000 a month.
They're gonna make it a studio, a luxury studio.
Yeah, and charge them more than they can afford.
You could,
especially if they're these people are houseless.
There are manners to solve the homelessness problem.
Right.
In these major cities.
Yeah, there is. There's lots of ways.
But they're so busy spending so much money to keep them away.
Yep.
Instead of fixing the fucking problem.
And it is a problem too. I agree with that too. Well, I mean, like all these empty buildings and stuff. Why aren't they being transformed?
Do you understand how much money it costs for them to put those like anti-sleeping rails on benches and like that? Under overpaths?
Wait, what?
They'll make specially designed benches. Spend millions of dollars to get a design. And then they gotta buy them, just so that people can't sleep on them. They have ones that I think it was at, I want to say LAX.
Probably.
Don't quote me. I'm not. But it was a bench, but it was meant more for it to be leaned upon.
Right.
Which is great. But then like it was highlighted because there was a handicapped woman who's like, I can't sit on this bench. I'm just trying to catch my flight. She wasn't homeless. There was nothing. I mean, she was disabled, but
I thought the benches were public spaces. So if you're trying to keep
they don't want people sleeping there. So they do things. They make, like I said, special designs. Like there'll be like a curve in it in a certain place so that it's uncomfortable, or they'll put little like, I don't know. You can look them up. There's a ton of different ways they do it.
Wild.
And they'll put like spikes in windows.
What?
Like, when they pave, when they do the window.
Right.
Some of them do spikes, but then they'll also like under overpasses. If you ever go under an overpass,
right,
and see like those cement triangles at the bottom instead of a flat ground, you see the triangles.
Right.
That's so that people can't sleep.
Now I understand I thought a lot of times
for that money they could take storage containers and turn them into genuine homes. They have a program. They can 3D print a house.
Oh yeah, I've seen
and
those.
Have it together. Printed and together within either 24 to 48 hours. There's sustainable housing.
Exactly.
There's small houses that could fit one or two people.
Footprint. Yeah.
Or a small family easily.
Right.
They're built. Yes, they're only built to last like 72 years. Fine. But if it's to get people off the street, to get them jobs, help them get a place to like
be stable,
shower, and sleep.
Yeah.
And have clean clothes,
right?
So that they can get a job. Because everybody's like, get a job. Well, you can't get a job because
you don't have an address to put down. You don't have shit.
You don't have an address. You don't have a place to shower. You don't have clean clothes. Exactly. People will look at you and say, I'm not hiring you.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you gonna get a job to get home?
Yeah.
It's like a whole catch-22.
It is a catch-22.
Like you gotta have the home to get the job, and you gotta have the job to get the home.
And I think that leads back to alternative living. I mean, okay, number one, I'll tell a story about this. Living off the grid. There was this mother who took her, I want to say, 14-year-old son and her sister who was disabled. She decided that, well, we're going to live off the grid. Okay, that's fine. Looked at a couple of YouTube videos, and declared that she was, someone who could live off the grid. I mean, I wouldn't even know more survival skills than this lady, and I still wouldn't do it. Anyway, they didn't come down from off the mountain, so the other sister and her husband, they went up there to find them, and they had starved to death. They had starved to death because they had no idea what they were doing living off the grid. I mean, people think all that shit is so easy to do. You better know that you're not going to have any. Living off the grid is that. That's no Wi-Fi. That's nothing. That's
Most people
no technology.
don't live strictly off the grid.
They don't.
Though. Like they, at some point, I'm not saying they don't live off the grid.
Right.
No, not even that they need battery necessarily. At some point, they go. You have to go back on the grid and get supplies.
Right.
You have to
That is true.
I mean.
Unless you take it with you, right?
Yeah, but there's only so much you can take with you.
Right, unless you find a little plot of land and build something.
Unless you have some perfect utility.
Right.
Unless you're perfectly
build your own
capable.
Food.
And I think people today aren't.
I agree with that.
Perfectly capable to fully just.
No, they're not.
Self-sustain. You might be able to 90 to 95% sustain yourself.
Right.
But there's gonna be a little bit that you
I'm not gonna live off the grid. I like comfort way too much.
You like air conditioning?
I do like air conditioning. I couldn't even
television.
imagine. And my phone. My phone's everything. But I don't think, and I think you're right that people really don't understand. I mean, if you can do it, great. Because if you can sustain yourself living off the grid and you like that minimalist lifestyle, have at it. But I think there's times when you do need civilization, though. I mean, while we still have civilization, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's fine. The one that I'm all about, and I know I couldn't even do this one too, is live in a tiny house. And we're talking, 300 square feet? If even that?
I feel like that's a big tiny house.
Yeah, because the studio's 800, and that's that little.
That's not even 800 a lot of times.
I don't even know. But, okay, so if 300 square feet, that gives you a toilet.
Like my one bedroom isn't 800.
It's not?
No.
Oh, it looks big. They all look big over there. All right, anyway, so I guess so, because if you look at my house, okay, that makes sense. All right, that makes sense. Sorry. Anyway, I could never live in 300 square feet. There's no fucking way. Even if I was by myself. I mean,
some go down to 70 square feet.
Yeah, how? Why? What do you have? A toilet and a shower and a bed. I mean, comfort.
Well, a lot of those
is
are
important.
It's like a loft,
right?
at the top of the bed,
right?
And then they'll have it's a bigger living space,
right?
And then they'll have a bathroom and storage,
right,
under the
and
loft.
a little kitchen.
Yeah, and under the loft, and then you'll have this massive living space.
Yeah.
Where the kitchen comes out.
Right.
And they have storage everywhere.
They do.
They put storage in every little nook and cranny.
Okay, so what's the difference between owning a tiny house like that or living in an RV? An RV.
Nothing.
Right?
Except the RV, you can move.
You can move, right? Well, some of those tiny houses you can move too, right? I mean, you want to put them on
more
a tow.
Permanent.
I wouldn't want to move mine. I wouldn't even want one.
They're typically you put them in it's a house,
right?
Because you have indoor plumbing, and
right?
all
That's
that,
true.
Versus an RV where it's
you have to go dump out your poo.
Yeah. It's all contained.
I'm not down with that. I worked in an RV place, and I'm telling you, it is not pretty.
But here's what I don't get: is tiny
pretty.
houses are big now, right?
Yep, they are.
But modular homes,
yep,
which is the actual name of them,
yes, they are
essentially trailers.
Yes,
are frowned upon.
I know, it's weird.
It's weird. Snub your nose. And I've seen some nice trailers.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw a triple wide that was bigger than
oh yeah
many houses.
They have nice
I've
siding
seen.
on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with those. There's nothing wrong with those
There's
kind of houses.
nothing wrong with them.
No, it's better than paying whatever you would have to pay if you wanted to live in a
But
regular house.
why is it
frowned upon?
Why is that bad? Outside of the stereotype of like the trailer park.
Trash. Yeah, I don't know. That's
but
a
a
good
tiny
question.
house is okay.
I know that's weird.
And living out of a van is
Or an
suddenly
RV, yeah.
like cool. Or an RV is like, oh wow, you get to just travel around.
Yeah, that is true.
Like living in a van's trash, but living in an RV is good.
Yeah, it's weird.
A tiny
isn't it?
home's great, but a trailer.
It's weird. That's, you know what? It's because we are fucked up as
like-
people. We are really fucked up as people when we sit there and we try to equate all that shit or think that this
kinda-
way is good and this way is bad. It's stupid.
I feel like it goes into those things of like what's considered classy when you're rich and trashy when you're
agree.
poor.
I agree
And
with
it's
that.
always like the same thing.
It is always the same thing. To get away from that, though, you can always go live in a commune. Now, what do you think about that? Communal living. That's weird, huh?
Don't a lot of those turn into cults?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I mean, I get the concept, and
I think it's a great concept.
me too. Exactly.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it either. And the reason why is because I don't want to know all those people that close to me knowing all my shit. I don't want them knowing my business. No. Communal living. And they're always, to me, okay, maybe it's just TV or whatever. I don't know anyone who's ever lived in a commune. But it seems that there is always one person in charge. It's not like a democracy, where everybody.
No.
There's only just one
It's
person in
not
charge.
really
It's
meant
like-
to be a democracy.
Then then that's not for me either. and no, because I have to be able to say
It's
my
communal
piece.
because everything is shared.
Everything is shared.
Everything is
Husbands,
shared.
wives, everything.
That kind of goes into the personal home. But like there are a lot of like everybody raises everybody's kids.
Well, I do like that because
Everybody
it does take a
disciplines
village.
everybody's kid.
Yep.
There's a difference between it takes a village and you're not sure which one's your real mom.
That is very
Because they
true.
all call you son or daughter.
Exactly. It's
And you're
weird,
like,
huh? Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
my real mom, right?
I look
Right.
like you. But that's the thing the thing that I have heard about communal living is that they really do practice sustainable techniques and sustainable
They do.
practices. And I think that's a good thing. Some people, I mean, even the
there's-
ones from the 60s, they were called hippies and shit,
They
Are
were
there-
a little past it.
Is there communes today?
Yeah, I'm sure there are.
I have no idea. That's a good question. Let's look that up. I'm gonna look that up while you say
I'm
something.
sure that I don't know if they have like websites.
I don't know about that, but I mean that is kind of wild, though, man. I've never thought about that. If they did have a,
I'm sure that. I mean, there's still plenty of people with that same sense of mind.
yeah, it doesn't look like there is any up here. You're probably right about that. That's wild. Yeah, I can't find anything. I might be looking at the wrong thing, but yeah, that's just. I don't know about that. I mean, if you wanna.
But it's like you never have
It's,
your space.
right.
There's
'cause-
never your
Right. Because you're not like
space,
living
your
in a
time,
neighborhood.
your
right.
it's
Everybody.
everybody is everybody.
And that don't work for me because I need to lay on the couch and have no one around.
Yeah.
I want to just not listen to anyone.
And you might get that once in a while,
Yeah.
but you're not going to get it often.
no. I couldn't imagine the
Because
jealousy.
when people need help, you got to go help them.
You got to go help them no matter what. I mean, it's good. I mean, community-wise, but it just ain't for me. That definitely not
Yeah,
for me.
it's very much the needs of the
the
needs of the
commune.
group
the
over
group.
the needs of oneself.
No, I mean I do think that it's good community engagement, and this is just I don't even know. So from what I know, I would just think that it like we're saying, like it takes a village to raise these children, and that aspect of it is fine and good. Now here's an idea: why don't you have a commune and put some tiny houses on it? I wonder if they have those. Tiny houses.
That's kind of the running thing now. Is
Right?
that people are like, I want to find X amount of friends,
Right.
and then just go buy a big plot of land and build a bunch of tiny houses on them, or build houses on them.
Right. Fringe.
And then that's our
right.
Our little area.
Okay, so is it at that point? Is it called
that's
commune
kind of a commune
or a neighborhood? I mean,
it's kind of a commune because the group owns the land.
Oh, that is very true. That is very true. It's weird. I mean, I think with that kind of living, you get the Jim Jones vibe, the Waco crap that happened, the Branch Davidians down there, and I mean, someone has to be in charge, and they get brainwashed. I mean, okay, here's a one too. Is Scientology a commune? A communal space?
Scientology? No.
Is it just a religion?
Kind of.
What is it? A cult?
It's a cult.
A cult can be described as a relatively small group which is typically led by a charismatic and self-appointed leader, who excessively controls its members, requiring unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices which are considered deviant. So no, Scientology technically doesn't count as a cult by strict definition since it is massive. But its teachings and practices are cult-like, so I would consider it a cult.
Does that make all of them
even if you don't want to call it a cult, it's not a religion. It's
No.
a money-making for-profit that gets... It's a multi-billion dollar... They make billions of dollars a year.
Doing
Billion
what?
with a B.
With what?
Selling
Just their shit?
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
you have to, because I was seeing some of the Scientology things. So you gotta buy the books.
Right.
You gotta buy the programs.
Right.
You gotta buy the videos. You gotta pay to do, and you gotta go to the classes, but you gotta pay for the classes. And you have to, the more you pay, the higher up you get.
Of course.
And the higher up you get, the more clean and pure you are, and you'll not. So like here, the big thing was that people were really focusing on now, trying to get people who in Scientology to be like, wow, is that if you reach the highest level, you're not supposed to get sick, right? You don't get sick, you don't get. Well, Kirstie Alley, who was at the one of the higher levels, because she was one of their posters.
Yep.
She died of cancer.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kelly Preston.
Yep.
John Travolta.
Yep.
She was up there too.
Yep.
She died of cancer.
Yeah. See, people buy
So
into
like
that
at
bullshit.
what point? And they spent millions of
Yeah.
dollars.
So dumb. I'm sorry, but that really sucks.
And then they harass people if they leave.
Yeah, like Leah Remini.
Like that, she just started. Apparently, she just filed a lawsuit against them.
Yep.
Because of the harassment.
Yep. Sorry, I know we're getting off track, people, but it's really interesting because I think those spaces really do turn into cults.
But they're meant to
When you
be.
have
So they do have
communal space.
technically, apparently, they do have a communal space for like to bring people off the street.
Well,
If you
that's
become
good.
Scientologist.
Oh, of course. There's
That's the
always
catch,
a fucking
though.
catch.
You have to be Scientologist.
You can't just
You have
have
to
help.
convert.
Yeah. Can't just have help. No, God forbid. We get
And
some
they
help.
help and have in a somewhat communal space.
It's weird. That all, religion's just weird to me anyway.
Because I mean, if you were going to go that route, then you would say that like boarding school is a communal space.
That
but
is
it's
very true.
Not.
But it's not. Yeah, living in a dorm
You know what
or
I
something.
mean?
Yes, I do. Well, we did have communal
It's-
spaces in the dorm.
You have communal spaces, but
Right.
it's not a communal
Right.
living.
Not everyone thinks the same way.
It's like an apartment.
I mean, to me, it's just weird. But I was wondering
It's not
about that.
like small living.
No, it's not
It's
small.
not alternative. It's nothing alternative about it. It's common.
What, living in a commune?
No, like living, just because it's communal area
Right.
doesn't make it
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
communal
I
or
agree
like a
with that.
commune.
I
It's-
agree with that.
I mean, your living room is technically a communal area. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I agree
Especially
with
when
that.
the family is there. It's, Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's true. But it just seems weird to me though. Those kind of religions and stuff that start off like we're all in the same space, we all feel the same way, we all pray the same way. And then someone's like, "Oh, I can take advantage of these fools." And then they do, and then
Well, they're
bad things
usually the
happen.
ones who are mentioning that we all agree with the same thing.
Right.
Like Jim Jones was the one who was like, "Let's get together
Weird, man.
and worship the right
Worship
way."
me.
And it's,
Worship me and then drink some Kool-Aid. Could you imagine? I can't even imagine, but that's sorry.
that's a whole other story. I could do a whole.
We will do
Jonestown
that. We will
I
do that
love
one.
that. I
do
just started
too.
watching a new show on Netflix.
Which one?
It was called How to Become a Cult Leader.
Oh God.
They had one called How to Become a Dictator. It was great.
It was about
This
Trump?
one, just as great.
Oh yeah, I want to see that. We will. We'll do an episode on that for sure. But I think if you choose to have an alternative lifestyle or living, I say have at it.
I think whatever works for you.
Works for you, but make sure you have a plan. Especially living off the grid. That one. Look at that kid in that book.
Into the Wild.
Oh,
Don't be him.
oh, don't be him. That movie.
I hated that shit.
Oh, that's so sad. Because he ate the wrong plant.
No, what's fucking sad is those dumbasses, they had to close the place off because people kept trying to get to the bus.
Mm-hmm. That's living off the grid. He
Yeah.
lived off the grid. That is, but why would you want to do it in Alaska? Really? It's too cold and all that water? That's why he couldn't cross.
Because the water was too high.
Yep. And then you're like stuck
You can
until the
only
next
cross it
year.
at certain times.
See, and then he got sick. See, that's too far for me. Maybe I'll go down to the Mesa or something, live off the grid over there, where I know if I drive 10 minutes, I'll find a 7-Eleven.
Go live off the grid at the casino.
Yeah, man. That would be way easier than hiking all the way up to Alaska and just to die because you ate the wrong fruit or wrong plant. How terrible. And he was trying to be diligent about it too. But that's actually really living off the grid. That's too much for me. I'm not going to do that. Out of the three, what would you pick?
I think it would have been easier, like, in his time, though.
Yeah.
Because one that, like, in the
Late
80s.
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s. Early 80s. What would you pick? Off the grid,
tiny house.
tiny house, or
Tiny
communal?
house.
I would probably do
100% tiny house.
If I had to choose, it would probably be. I
A
would
tiny
say
house.
but I would say I would live off the grid if I could have all the luxuries.
You
If I could
can't
have a
have the
battery, a
luxury.
generator. How about a generator?
All right, well, how you can power it.
Solar. Right? Solar power. I could do that. Right? But there probably isn't any Wi-Fi towers around.
No, you can't have. Once you tap into the Wi-Fi, you're back on the grid.
Never mind. So I would pick a tiny house.
You would pick a tiny house. I know you, Bonnie. You would pick a tiny house.
I would.
And you would bitch about it the whole time.
I sure would.
But you would do it. And the
I
second someone
would.
said you had to choose something else,
I
you'd
know.
say, tell them to fuck
Yeah,
themselves.
it's so true. I don't know. I think you would get so used to that small space that if you did
You'd learn
go,
how to work it.
You would. And you wouldn't
And
want to
besides,
go.
what do you need, Bonnie?
I don't need
What
nothing.
do you need?
I don't need
Your
nothing.
bed?
Yeah.
It's got a bed.
Yes.
A couch and a
Yes.
TV?
And a weed farm in the back.
There you go.
I'm good. That'll work for me. I would be happy
That
with
way-
that. As long as I could have Rocco and the dogs with me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
You
come
can.
too. They can come too. Yeah, but I think you would get used to a small space like that. But where do you go? Like like we were saying earlier, if your partner, they get on your fucking nerves, where do you
go
go?
outside.
You go outside, and what if there's a fucking blizzard outside? Then what? You can't go shut
Kick them out.
You can't go slam the bedroom
You
door.
kick them out.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Unless you have on your loft, you have one of those rollaway things, one of those, that would work too. That would be pretty good too. So, who knows? I think that's a good idea.
That's when you get a,
That's a good idea.
what is it, slingshot and just start
Yeah.
Like,
Boom, boom.
popping BBs at them.
I would never do that. I would never, ever do that. Well, I think that's pretty good today. What do you say? You got anything to say, Liz, about our housing situation in America? It's pretty fucked up, people. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can seek help, get help. If you have a little bit of money and you don't know what to do with it and you need a place to live, here's some ideas. I mean, seriously, a tiny house is what, $20,000?
I don't
I
know.
think they're like 20. They start at 20, you know?
It depends.
Depends on what size you get. But I think that's the starting.
Again, you gotta have a place to put
You
it.
have to have land. You do, unless a friend will let you put it on their land. But I would pick a tiny house, and I hope you guys would too. I mean, unless some of you are crazy and want to live in a commune. That one's just too much for me. I couldn't do that. I would pick a tiny house too, and living off the grid, it's way too hard.
much work.
Too hard. Way too hard, and I'm not down with that at all. Now, cabin.
And some of the stuff I'd have to do.
Yeah.
No.
It's like, I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing that. It's not even just the hard work. It's
No.
some of the it's just some of the work you have to do.
It's too much for me. I'm not down. I'm not doing it either. I mean, my biggest thing is like, let's say you put it in a flood-prone area, right?
Then you're a fucking idiot.
Fuck. But you know it's the cheapest land you can buy.
That's
Sorry, you know?
that's right. That's your problem.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a lot of
need
insurance
to
companies
know.
aren't insuring people now anyway, so it is what it is. Anyway, have we been sufficient on our quest today with alternate living?
To me, yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
do
happy
too.
with it?
I'm happy with it. We hope you guys are too. And as always, thanks for listening. And hit us up on.
I don't know where. Instagram at I hate that shit official. You can go to the website at ihatethatshit.net.
Yep.
And obviously YouTube's
YouTube.
here. You can subscribe, comment,
Yes.
whatever.
Comment. Engage us, please.
Whatever the young
We
people
would
say
love
now.
that. Ask me anything. I'll tell you. If you want to know, I'll tell you. Engage with us.
Whether you want to know or not,
I
she'll
will.
tell you.
I sure will. And on that note, don't let shit get you down. You're not alone. We're all in this shit together. Peace.